To first of all, thank you so much for let me be the first to present, because I have a terrible agenda today. But what I'm going to do is to share my experience during this pandemics, on which we have to replace face-to-face classes with online classes. It was really quite demanding. It was really a big challenge, what I can say, it's I will share some of my experience. Some of us, we had previous contact with the ICT, so information communication technologies. Some of us, we had online training, but we have to admit we were not really prepared for this change. So and the thing I have to say, it's very important to set the rules before we are playing, because when we change, I have to admit, we change face-to-face or in-person classes for online classes, and we replace them totally for 2 semesters. Okay, and it was very hard, to manage that with large classes. I have to admit, so I had a class with more than 200 students, and imagine what is to teach online with a class with this kind of dimension. So I think it's very important to set rules, because we assume that the students will follow the university regulation, but when they think they will attend the online classes from their home, they think the rule set it's something different. So we have to talk very well about the rules. Some of them, they were not aware what is Netiquette or Zoom ticket, because all the classes were given through Zoom. But it's important. Otherwise, you will face very awkward situations. Students, they wear their pajamas, they wear the bikinis with sunglasses. So we have to talk about that. It's not losing time; it's gaining time afterwards. Okay, we have to accept, and some of this experience that I have been through. Now, some of them and some of my strategies are now guidelines for those they are interested to teach online. So first thing, it's to set the rules. Okay, you can talk about them. You can write them down. Okay, it's important if you upload them in our LMS. So actually, we used Moodle as a learning management system. And it's important, to keep the rules, clear. Otherwise, it's better to avoid the chaos, especially if you have, such large class, and it's important, to talk about it. So it's perfect, natural, and younger the students, the likelihood to happen these things, it's higher. So it's important to talk about the rules, what the do's and the don'ts, for online classes. That's very important. So just lose some time. It's not lose some time, but you will gain some time if you talk about these rules and how to behave correctly or properly when you attend online classes. Okay. I can give you some examples. So just every time it's possible, just keep your camera on. Okay, just give a name if you attend to the session. Please, you have to mute your microphone. If you have a question, you raise your hand or a virtual hand. This is very important things. Otherwise, it will be chaotic. So the time will pass, and you will not be able to teach what you want. Okay, it's very important. So the interesting thing that happened to me, I had some undergraduate students from psychology, and most of them, they were from generation Y and Z. That means their ages, they range from 18 until to 13 years of 30 years of old. So years old. So that means they are somehow used to to chat. So what I did, I used their happens against them. I wrote a lot in the chat room, the Zoom chat room, and just to capture their attention, because I used to that. They are texting all the time. They are sending SMSs. They use social networks. So, and I did the same, because some of them, they are somehow shy, and the online classes somehow they can promote their interaction, okay, because if they feel savior at home, but we can use this strategy. It's to use, of course, a balanced use, the chat room, and you can you can make some, you can write some questions on the chat room. You can interact in the chat room, but you have to use correctly, properly the chat room. So wisely. So what I did, I just allowed the communication between teacher and students teacher. I didn't allow communication between them. Otherwise, it will be chaotic, okay? And you will lose the focus of the class, okay? So that's important. You can use that in Zoom. It's very fancy, and otherwise you lose the focus, and you will not be able to keep their attention in our class, in your class, okay? So I made some questions often, in the chat, so I interact often. It's interesting. Doesn't work for all the classes. Okay, imagine what the interaction through chat room in an older class, or a class with older students, maybe doesn't work so well. Okay, but taking into account this kind of students, it worked pretty well. Okay, so one thing that I said before, it's very important. It's to use wisely, the chat room. So whenever it's possible, just cut the possibility of the students interact between them. Otherwise, you will lose the focus for sure. Okay, so the chat between students must be disabled. Okay, so one fancy functionality that can be found in Zoom, it's to create the breakout rooms. It's very fancy tool, and with this kind of breakout rooms, we can actually create. You can implement actions of team building, in this case class building, because we can choose which students will be part of this small class, small room. So somehow, if you want to promote the interaction between a given student or students, we can do that. We can assign them manually, or you can do it randomly, as you wish. Okay. Of course, if you notice that there are a certain student, it's quite shy, you can mix with the extrovert student, to promote the the interaction, or you can create a small class just with shy people, as you want. Okay, this is quite fancy, and actually it helps to promote promoting, they can discuss without me their ideas, and whenever they want, I can show up. Okay, when they call me, but it's nice because you give me enough, you can give them enough room and space to discuss about some concepts and ideas, and after I just enter and I can discuss with them, and afterwards they can present all their ideas, to the whole class. But we can segment, we can create small groups, and after we can create nice dynamic here between students. Yeah, as I told before, these breakout rooms that allowed me, to create, discussion and to promote interaction, to my students, and I used a lot. Okay, I can create the number of these breakout rooms as you want. Okay, you can even create pairs if you wish. Okay, as you want, and always keeping in mind the goals that need to be reached in your class. Okay. So one thing, it's very difficult, and we can't avoid it. It's Of course, the classrooms, they were online, but not all the students have had the same quality connection to the internet. So that means some of them, they were not able to hear me well, okay, or to see me well. And of course, this impacts seriously in their learning. So what I did always, it's to upload the content that I taught in our LMS system. We used Moodle as a LMS, okay, and all the contents that I taught, they can be found over there. Okay, that's important, because if a given student was not able, to attend the session for given reasons, I don't care. They can find all the contents that was taught. Okay, the contents can be found in Moodle, so they can download. They can follow some URLs, some websites, some videos that can be watched. So it's important. This is give the title of my presentation. So asynchronous-synchronous, our plan B. If they are not able to attend the session, we have to ensure they can download the contents. They can read the contents that were taught. That's very important. So important detail, it's we have to keep all the things we share and upload in Moodle. We have to be consistent in terms of format. So don't try to upload a PowerPoint format or Excel or Access or something different, because some students, they use Linux, some students, they use Macintosh. So keep it simple. Just use the PDF as a written content, or if you want to share video content, just use AV. So it's the best options, because otherwise, they will complain about it, and you will create a lot of conflicts. Okay, and the students, they can use this, and can assume this as a factor for that create resistance in their learning. Okay, so it's better to keep it consistently and a distributable format, as I said before, PDF or IV as a video content. Okay, one thing that we experienced, that okay, it's impossible to keep all the students committed, to your class, in your class. Okay, especially if it's a large class. Okay, what we can do is to plan some exercises and implement some exercises during the class to know which students they were really focused in what you said. Okay, that's important. Otherwise, as you know, some students, they are experts in trying to deceiving us. So they just you just turn on the session, and after they disappear. Okay, of course they are connected, but they are not following what I'm teaching. Okay, so one thing you can say this old saying, it's like to separate, to separate the husk from the grain. You can implement some exercises during your class, so you can check afterwards which students they submit the exercise that I asked for. Okay, and you can clearly know which students they didn't upload the exercises, and you can have more details about who is focused on the content that are being taught. Okay, it's very important. Of course, you can gamify the classes. This is important too. Okay, because especially in some curricular units that I teach, statistics and psychometrics, for some of them, it's quite heavy content and quite boring. So if you combine humor with gamification, of course, the things will run better for sure. Okay, as it's easier to teach these contents if you reach first, the students' art. And you can do that, using of course a balanced humor, and afterwards you can combine with some exercises, some quiz activities, and it will help you for sure to explain what you intend, and the dynamic of your class will be better for sure. So at last, I would like to focus on this. It's very important, this issue that I consider very important, especially if you have online classes. Okay, the students, they spend 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours in the front of a screen. So it's terrible, and it's better to avoid, the visual fatigue. So what I recommend, it's every 30 minutes, a small break, to stretch up, or they can eat something, or they just can turn their attentional focus to other thing. It's very important. Okay, otherwise they under the point of view of ergonomics, we can see some of our students, they are really in a bad position or posture, attending the class. Okay, so if they don't feel comfortable, during the class, they will lose the focus. Okay, they will not toward attention to you, and yeah, you will lose some of them for sure, and it will be harder, to explain and to teach all the contents afterwards. Okay, and that's it. I don't know if that's my presentation. I will be pleased, to ask to reply to some questions if you have it. Okay, thank you so much for your attention.